It's time for the December instructor video. Okay, so this month I will be joined by Scott Girding, who is our Territory Service Delivery Manager, who is going to be sharing a lot of great, exciting things. So make sure you watch the whole video. I'm also going to be talking about what an emergency truly is and when to call us and the time frames where we really truly are available and on call for classes are after hours and on the weekends. Also talking about some collaborative co-teaching tips and kind of thank yous to those of you who have been working with a lot of our new instructors in the past months. Also, another update I'll include is a review of what our documents are and what we call them. That'll help with when you're requesting what you need more copies of and everything. It's just a very helpful thing that we want to review and make sure everybody's on the same page. Another thing will be Go Kits that'll be sent to some of those of you who haven't received anything, which is for professional rescuers. So I'll be talking a little bit about that and what that means, and a few other things. A lot of it will be Scott too, so make sure you again watch the whole video. This will be my last for this year and for a while. I will also share who will be covering while I'm away. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Send me a message into when to work, or I will also be sharing who to contact and when you will be notified of when I've left the building for a while. Something I wanted to remind everybody about this month, and it might actually just be something you didn't realize or know, but I did want to give everyone a little bit of a heads up in detail of what an emergency is and why you should call us if you're having issues in class, before, during, or at the end of class. So I'm kind of going to highlight a few things that do need to be brought to our attention as they're happening. So what constitutes an emergency? So some things to be thinking about are when we have someone on call. So this includes the Saturdays that typically it's been me and Gail or Nancy in the evenings during the week. What you should call us on. So a few of the things include building access. We've had that a couple of times. So you get there and it's a place you've been to a million times, and for some reason you just can't get in. Call us as soon as you realize you can't get in. We are able to work with our resources and also logistics to make sure that if we can't help you get in right that second, the door code's not working, anything like that, the key fob is not working, we can work towards making sure someone gets to that facility to let you in for class and start getting ready. Always remember you call the TSC to validate whether or not someone should be on your roster. That should be your first step. They will be able to tell you that on the roster you have in your hands, yes, so and so belongs in your class, so please let them stay. But also review what we've discussed in previous messages and in our meetings on why people stay. If you have the space, you have the equipment, please allow them to stay. But if you need to check on a roster information about whether or not so and so should be in your class, then make sure you are calling the TSC to validate their enrollment. And another thing is you can call us if you're having difficulty with the closeout process. So if you're having problems getting a hold of the right people when you're calling in and following the script, just let us know. That way it just gives us a little bit of a heads up that maybe your paperwork will be a little bit delayed the next day, or you're still working to close out the class because you ran into some challenges. That is completely fine. Some other things to think about are our normal business hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The majority of our team here is in Indianapolis or in northern Indiana. So just keep that in mind when you're calling us. But if it's anything else other than what I just mentioned, please either send us an email or call us the next day. We are excited to hear from everybody, but some things we hear from you guys on could wait the next day. It's nothing to freak out about, even if it is a heads up about something small and very important to you. Know that we want to know about those things, but also know that we can't get phone calls at 10:30 at night because that's just a little crazy. I wouldn't call you at 10:30 unless it was a really big emergency. So keep thinking that way as well. If you have questions about this topic, just let me or Gail know. We can definitely review why it's okay. Please call us if you're in trouble or if there is an emergency. But if it isn't something that's really huge at that moment, it can wait. I promise it can wait, and we'll solve it the next day if possible. Another reminder I have for this month, and it's a little bit of a thank you at the same time, is I want to kind of give a woohoo to co-teaching. So I know I've talked about it 1,000 times, but the best thing ever is when a group of instructors work really well together, giving out the Red Cross information and training, and all these people that are in the class are loving it. I continue to get great feedback about those of you who are co-teaching together and saying, I really loved it because, seeing these two instructors work together was awesome. They really brought it home. Whatever it may be, just know that I thank those of you who have been instructors with us for a while or a long time, and in a sense mentoring the new people that have come to our team. That has helped a ton. Having them shadow even before a course where they've become an instructor has happened has been very helpful for them to get an idea of what our classes are like when it comes to the flow of the class. And even some of the questions that we get from participants can be very simple to something they would never have imagined. And seeing those of you who have been instructors for a while or even a short time mentoring the new hires and new instructors has been phenomenal. So I thank you for that. And also remember that anytime you have any feedback for someone you're teaching with, just remember to keep in mind you want to talk to them about any kind of positive reinforcement on a break or lunch or afterwards. That way they can keep rolling in the flow, and if they have some things they need to work on, it's okay to share that with them, even if it is something small. And always keep in mind, everybody has their own teaching style. So you might not do it one way and they might do it the other way, but it still all works. So always think about that as well, because you could really learn something new by co-teaching with someone who does do something differently. That is something I miss. I really had a lot of fun when I would get to co-teach. I learned the most then, not only from the participants and what they had to share, but also from who I was co-teaching with. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Hello, Indiana instructors. As Stephanie promised, I'm Scott Girding, Manager of Service Delivery for the Hoosier State. Today, preparedness and health and safety solutions around Indiana, and around the country for that matter, is in a very solid position. In the few minutes we have together in this video, I'll gladly walk you through a few examples and provide a bit of commentary. But before I go any further, let me pause and say thank you. I know that this national department's successes are in large part due to the customer-facing training teams across the country, just like this one. Experience, paired with the reach and revenue results, tell me that nearly every day of the year there are American Red Cross instructors, like many of you watching this video, who are laser focused on creating positive experiences for our customers. The best of you begin by consistently completing customer calls prior to full service classes, setting the tone in the customer's eyes for how the training will unfold. Effective instructors show up 30 minutes prior to the scheduled start of their class and are intentional about greeting their students in their classroom, usually while proudly wearing their Red Cross branded polo shirt. From there, all of you walk your students through a few hours of healthy conversation around preparedness topics and response skills like CPR and using an AED. All the while in the back of your mind, hoping that your students never need to use the skills that you've taught them, but are confident that they could if they needed to. The best instructors leave their students feeling trained, empowered, and prepared to respond to emergencies. I know this because as manager, I read the customer surveys that are collected after class. I also know this because I'm an instructor and an instructor trainer, and I have been for the past 12 years. You're doing good work out here, folks. Thank you. Before I give you some examples of some of the good work we're doing today, I think it's important to acknowledge where we came from. Rewind with me to the fall of 2011. At the time, there were 21 different chapters in Indiana alone, all running health and safety programs 21 different ways. If you were an instructor back then, you reported to one of the 21 health and safety directors on staff, and likely only taught within your chapter's area of authorization, and you didn't dare cross a county line to teach a class. In fact, many chapters were competing for customers along their respective borders. There was no national pricing and wide variances in prices from one chapter to the next, and there was certainly no TSC. While this model worked for a lot of chapters, it wasn't consistently executed across the country, forcing some chapters to underwrite their health and safety activities with funds that would have otherwise been earmarked to support disaster responses. Operating in a digital era of Facebook, Twitter, and Amazon.com, our business model was more tied to selling books and skill cards. Health and safety needed a dramatic facelift if we were going to continue being relevant in the training world, and quite honestly, here at the Red Cross. Then came the re-engineering of PHSS. This is probably about the time your world as an instructor began to flip upside down. You were forced to say goodbye to your local health and safety director and were thrust into a new national reporting structure who you were convinced had made up job titles and didn't know a thing about running health and safety in your communities. I imagine you heard conflicting messages, inaccurate information, and felt you were being provided little direction. That was a frustrating time to be an instructor at the Red Cross. Well, here we are today. You're watching another one of the monthly YouTube videos that Stephanie provides in an effort to keep a consistent flow of communication being pumped out to each of you. You have 24-hour access to your teaching assignments in a national scheduling system called When to Work. And you're part of a statewide training team being supported by just 4 extremely talented staff members: Gail McGinnis, Stephanie Yakabuchi, Nancy Cushman, and Mike Roller. Each of you have your own set of mannequins and AED trainers, and you are ready to go at a moment's notice. Your students now learn most of their course content online and come to you so that they can demonstrate what they learned, receive coaching and feedback, and of course, encouragement. Oh, and those wallet cards, they've paved the way for digital certificates, which are now mailed to your students' email within 2 hours of their community classes and can be validated by employers through each certificate's unique ID or QR code. There has been a lot of changes to health and safety over the past 36 months, and you've been a part of it, a part of moving the needle from good to great. I imagine that about right now you're hoping I'm going to say that we've reached the end state, that we've arrived at the goal we have been working towards. Not the case. As a matter of fact, what I desperately want you to know is that we'll never be done changing. Change is the new normal for us. In order to maintain a competitive edge against the competition, we have to keep changing. It's the right thing to do for our customers. We have to keep finding better ways and smarter ways of doing business and bringing our products to market. We'll need to continue embracing better technologies, better systems, and better processes. When we stop doing these things, we run the risk of losing our relevancy. Folks, we have too many lives to save to allow that to happen. I want to share with you now 3 strategic goals that service delivery is focused on across the country for this year. I want you to see and hear these goals because they're your goals too. I realize you can't read the goals, but I'll read them to you and we'll talk about each one of them. Number 1, build a schedule to achieve a monthly fill rate of above 8.4 enrollees per community class. That means we want 9 people in every community class. Currently, we're running at about a rate of 7.4 enrollees per community class. We just need a few people to bring a friend. Number 2, in FY14, PHSS course participants are willing to recommend ARC training to a friend or colleague at a score of 8 or higher 95% of the time. Instructors, this is all you. Those surveys that you collect at the end of every class come back here to the office. We put them in our database and it spits out the result of how you're doing in the classroom. We want you to do well, and I think you want to do well too. Number 3, meet or exceed a 44% volunteer utilization rate for community class offerings in FY14. Well, that number might have changed just a little bit, The point here is we need to bring more volunteers into the fold. It's the right thing to do for our bottom line, and it's the right thing to do for our communities. So we need more volunteers. The last thing on the board is do good things. You hear this around the office quite a bit. I challenge all of my staff to do good things. And I'd encourage you, as you're in the classroom, as you're talking with our chapter partners, whether they're disaster or in any other function, do good things. PHSS is in a very solid position. After a multi-year journey, revenues now exceed direct expenses. We have for the first time a clean national client database managed by a national call and administration center. We've positioned ourselves as the industry leader in products and technology, such as our apps and our digital certificates. My hope as you hear this is that you see the consistent improvements that continue to happen around us. I hope that your confidence in PHSS and in your role is restored. And I hope you continue to be laser focused on creating exceptional customer experiences in your classrooms. To wrap up, I want to thank Bree Robinson, Suze Wright, James Pavelka, Brooke Reister, and Kurt White for all being associated with exceeding customer expectations. I want to thank Mike Roller for his leadership on managing a project in partnership with the ArcelorMittal Company in our Northern Indiana markets. And I want to congratulate Gail McGinnis for being selected as the When to Work subject matter expert for our division. She'll be heading up a project to implement best scheduling practices across 5 states. We're doing a lot of good things here in Indiana, and I'm so glad you are on my team to be a part of it. From me to you, thank you and happy holidays.
I'm going to do a few updates for this month, and the first one I'm going to do is kind of run down what we call documents. So it's kind of going to be like a, what do you call that? Some of us have interesting names for some of the paperwork, but I wanted to kind of bring everybody on the same page. So I'm going to, not only with this agenda, be sending you the agenda, you will have a couple of attachments as well. So you'll be getting an attachment that looks kind of like this, that I tossed together. That way we're all on the same page of when you are going to fill out a replenishment request form, you will know what is what, just in case. That way we're all on the same page on what you would be sent, instead of it being a surprise to you or to us on what you're asking for. So the number one document would be a sign-in sheet. You've all seen them. If yours looks a little bit different, you might have a version that I made a long time ago. But as you need those, make sure you're asking for the specific quantity. Another item that we have, and we make sure that you have, are the activity guides. And then there's the course record sheet. So this is the first page. So remember, this is 1 of 2. These are the ones that are to be completed for full service classes only. Don't make them for your community courses. You don't need them. You have the roster. This would be the course record addendum. That's page 2 of 2. Then there's our lovely exams. I will not show the whole document because we do not need to show the whole thing. So there's like page 1. There's that cover sheet. So as you need that, you will request how many you need. And of course the answer keys, that's another one. And then our lovely learning materials. So there has been an update. So the adult first aid CPR AED ready reference card looks like this, but you might get an older version, and that's okay. Same information, maybe the pictures are just a little bit different, but it's the same information that you would deliver and use. Then there's the pediatric one. And then our participants manual. If you are someone that would like to carry the participant manual in your Go Kit, just let us know. We have plenty. I do know that some people like to have a few on hand. That is fine. We'll just have that as an addition to your Go Kit. But if you don't have any right now, that's all right. And you should know what those look like. But that was basically just to make sure that everybody is speaking the same language. I know that different names for different things exist out there, so I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page. That way we all know when you're filling out that form that you knew exactly what you wanted. The other thing is to, on that form, it will talk about baggies. What we have are combo kit baggies, so there would be a first aid one, which is with the bandages and gloves, and a CPR one, which is just a breathing barrier and gloves. So that will be on the list. So you would specifically request for those, and they don't come together, so you won't be requesting gloves on their own like in a box, or breathing barriers on their own in a box. So I just want to make sure that I mention that too. It will also have specifically listed mannequin lungs, so you will be specific in your request for what kind of mannequin you use and the kind of lungs that you would like to request replenishment for. So all of those items will be sent to you with this video agenda and the video link, so keep an eye out for those. So one of the last things I want to mention in the video for this month is sending out a congratulations to many of the instructors who have completed their bridge to either becoming a professional rescuer and healthcare provider instructor or a babysitting instructor. There are some more that will be completing it in the month ahead, but just know that some of your fellow instructors have completed this task, and a lot of you are still continuing to work with me. I did mention that someone will be covering for me while I'm gone, and that person will continue to manage this task of making sure that everybody is completing their bridge to either becoming a CPR, AED instructor, for the professional rescue or healthcare provider, or also for babysitters training as well. So that person will be managing that. But I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to Jacoba, Rebecca, Kate, James, Terry, and Jeff, who are the first bundle I have on my list. There are some that will actually be completing this after this video is done and everything, because I'm recording a little early just in case I can't in the next couple weeks. So just know that I'm really excited that everybody's been working closely with me in this process. Continue to check your redcross.org email. That's where I'm sending these bits of information to schedule you to these courses, and we're also listing it as a training opportunity that you're attending and when to work. What? Yeah, for real. So if you're a PR instructor, and in the next couple weeks you will be sent a full go kit, which means everything you need for your PR classes. So everything will be in there. So the bag valve mask, the pocket masks, and some of the other materials that you would need. The only thing that won't be included is the mannequins, because you already have them. So keep an eye on your mail, and it will obviously be a big box, so just pay attention to what's coming in the mail. I'm going to try and beat the Christmas rush of packages that you might be receiving, but this will be one of the things that will be coming to your doorstep if you are a PR instructor. Again, a CPR, AED for professional rescuer, and healthcare provider instructor. So you will only get them if you have that as an instructor certification. If you have any questions, just let me know. This month I won't do the usual typical list a few instructors for the shout outs, but I'm giving a shout out to each and every one of you. Please continue to be sending these in, because I do review them, I do look at them, and I'm always excited to see some of the comments like I have on the bundle I just flashed across the screen, like instructor is very good, excellent instructor, great course, good group dynamics, fun, knowledgeable instructor. Also, it was a good course. Instructor did a great job facilitating, and also anything nice that they have to say is good. But I also like to see how our numbers are looking on these surveys before they get put in to the database. So it's good to see things like 8 to 10, which is awesome, that they would definitely recommend the class. So please continue to make sure that you're sending those in, and that way I can be keeping an eye on how well everybody's doing, but it just helps us as a team grow. So no, I thank you so much for doing a great job out there, but don't forget to send your surveys in. So great job, everybody, and thank you. Many of you have asked who will be my fill-in or backup while I'm away on maternity leave in the months ahead, and I'm excited to share that Gail McGinnis will be just that. She will continue to support the territory as the scheduler, but also be taking on the training specialist tasks that I usually handle. But until you receive a message notifying you of me being officially away on maternity leave, please continue to contact me. So like I said, my backup is Gail. Yeah, it's totally me and a baby and her high fiving. Um, but she will be serving as my backup while I'm away. I will not be able to be contacted by phone or email during this time. I won't even have those devices with me while I'm away on maternity leave. So when that notice comes to you, please do not send me any messages via one to work or email or leave any on my desk phone or cell phone because those will be not closely monitored. I will not be responding to anything until I get back. Please contact Gail with anything that you would need to contact me about when I'm away after you receive that notice. And as usual, if you have topics or agenda items that you would like to see in future videos, just send me a message and when to work. If it's after I'm gone, send it to Gail and she'll make sure that she keeps a running list so when I return, we can make sure we put those in our videos. I'd like to thank Scott for joining us for the video this month. He shared some great items that maybe you didn't know about, maybe you've heard about, but they're all clear, they're true, and to the point, and I'm really glad that he got to join this video before I leave for a while. Again, if you have any questions about this agenda, the items spoken about in the video today, just let me know. Thanks. Have a great December.